Hello, my name is Tracy Hitchings. My guest today is Lee Martin, a successful singer-songwriter based in New Zealand. Come and find out what's behind her success story. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you wherever you are across the globe. I am transmitting from the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, and you have tuned into Tracy's Prog World. Well, Lee is zooming in across the beautiful Pacific Ocean, or to be precise, the Tasman Sea, about 3 hours south by Big Bird. From where I sit by my window, I have expected a rather grey British day from what we were told the night before. But looking out of my window now, the sun is absolutely beaming through. It's absolutely wonderful. So more importantly, I've got myself a nice hot cup of almond milk. I know some of you will go yuck, but it's lovely. I did it myself. I pressed the nuts myself, honestly. And it's a lovely, comfortable feeling as I welcome on board to my chat show the beautiful and very talented Lee Martin. How are you doing, Lee?
Hi, Tracy. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely great. It's just such a beautiful day, and I've been very much looking forward to meeting you since finding out about you through a friend of ours that we didn't know we had, Kev Rowland, and I'm actually blown away, quite frankly. Beautiful day over there at the moment, or a grey day?
Look, the sun is shining, as you can see behind me, but it is pretty chilly outside.
Pretty chilly.
But it's beautiful nonetheless.
Right. Okay. And okay, so I should actually carry on, because what's on my mind, Lee, is you're a New Zealand-based singer-songwriter, and you've been impacting the music scene with your thought-provoking lyrics and storytelling style. You're a South African born, and you have recorded 2 original albums that received ample radio airplay. You've enjoyed great success with your fans from all corners of the world, and a childhood spent listening to the greats such as Van Morrison, Dire Straits, Pink Floyd, Leonard Cohen, I love that, and more, much more I know, which has greatly influenced your music. And I hear some of that actually when I've been listening. So you started training classical music, Lee, didn't you, at the age of 9?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you've been singing and performing professionally for the past 17 years. And it is said that you're an old soul with a versatile writing style that allows you to cross genres, gliding so effortlessly between rock, folk, blues, and country music. And of course, all the while maintaining your own unique sound, which has kept, of course, your fans absolutely captivated. So, Lee, welcome. And
Thank you.
and I'm wondering.
Thank you for introducing me.
And you're very welcome. And I'm still wondering, because something that never got spoke about yet, for whatever reason it got missed, and I think it makes it all the more wondering, is which island are you actually zooming in from?
Well, today I am zooming in from, drumroll, the South Island.
Oh, right.
So I think, yeah, I met Kev in the North Island because I was up there recording my album.
That's
so
Kevin
the studio
Rowland.
was up there. Yes.
That's Kevin Rowland.
And that's why you might have thought that maybe I was from the North Island. But
Ah,
I am, in
right.
fact, from Christchurch, yeah.
Right, and the plot thickens, right, okay.
Yes.
So you're from Christchurch, but you do go to the North Island, and
Yes.
okie dokie. And is that to do music? Is that to record? And
Yeah, so the studio, Red Room Studios, I'm signed with a record label called AAA Records.
yes,
And they are based in Auckland. So when it came time for me to go and record the album, I just flew up and I was hanging out with them for a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like it was fun. It really does.
It was amazing, yeah.
I have my sources, you know.
Your spies in New Zealand.
Oh, I honestly do have spies all over New Zealand, north and south.
So I'm not safe anyway.
You're not safe anywhere, no, but for all the right reasons, all the right reasons. Looking at your videos and production, and they're beautiful. So let's start from your Falling Down song, the 360 VR. What's the setup there? Because where was that recorded? Don't tell me that was in your home.
No, so with that one, I actually can't take any of the credit for it because so Timatara Smith and Jamie Carrera, who's part of Red Room Studios and AAA Records, I wanted to do a music video for Falling Down. And then they came up with this idea because they got a fancy new piece of machinery, this 360 camera. And they said, how about we do a 360 VR video for you? And we do, but to make it interesting, we'll have it so that there's multiple Lees in the room doing different things. So I'm in that room. I think at one stage there's 8 of me in the same room.
Yes.
Dressed differently, doing something different. And the viewer can scroll which part of it they want to see. So it's actually genius because in essence you can watch that video over and over and over and see something else every time.
Yes.
So yeah, that was pretty exciting. So I went, my biggest job was just to put on different clothes and do something different in that room every time. Like I was playing drums or guitar or bass or whatever. And then the post-production was the major, big job. So they did such a good job with it.
I mean, it's amazing. I've been watching again this morning, and I just think anybody should go on there. Check out Lee Martin, and go and see her 360 VR video. And it's the actual song's called "Falling Down." It's just so good. The whole all round thing. Go check it out. This is just really worth checking out. And the other one, I just love "Lost Girl." That's the clip. I really love that too. It's just so beautifully done. So, are you doing the storyboarding here at all?
Yes, so that was kind of my idea, was to the Lost Girl. It's very lyrically driven, that song. So it's about people self-sabotaging and people doing things that they know they're not really meant to do, but they do it anyway. Yes. And then they always wonder, why did everything go wrong? But it's kind of, self-driven. So with the Lost Girl concept, I like the idea of me being alone, kind of symbolizing the lost girl, but also writing down the lyrics because I wanted the viewer to really see the lyrics without it being a lyric video. So we found a place in Christchurch in New Regent Street called the Institution, and they have a chalkboard. So I was sitting there having a drink one night and I'm like, this will be perfect. So we asked them if we could use the venue, and I just literally wrote down the lyrics as I was going along, kind of to tell the story. So it's, I guess it's a metaphor for the lost girl as me alone in this, obviously it's a pub or a bar, but I'm writing down the lyrics. And I think that was Caleb Waiari. He did such a great job as well, just with the editing and the filming of that video. Yeah, it was definitely visually what I had in mind, and even better. So
they're really beautiful. They're really quality. So for anybody listening out there, this is real top quality stuff. You've got to check it out. I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and my husband. And you're reminding me of me when I had my long blonde hair as well. I'm thinking, why did I cut it off now? Looking so free and beautiful.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I've got an attachment to my hair. I had a discussion with someone the other day who cut their hair, and she said, I cut it because why am I so attached to it? And I'm like, I'm still attached, so yes, I'm not cutting it yet.
It's funny, somewhere where we're going to go, because we're talking about not having attachments. I was reading about you, so that's very interesting. But before we go there, I'm very curious about your South African origins. Can you tell me about yourself?
Absolutely. So I grew up in South Africa. I love it. I love the country. I love everything about it. I mean, it's got its issues, as everyone I think is well aware. But we didn't actually move because we didn't like it there. My husband is in IT and he got headhunted. So we just kind of thought, let's go for a little while, check out New Zealand. We didn't really commit to a big move. We just saw it as an experience. And then here we are, like 10 years later, and we're still here.
Wow. So you've really made home.
Yeah, we've fallen in love and we've gotten our papers and we're here to stay. Yeah.
Well, you know what? New Zealand is said to be one of the, honestly, the leading most beautiful country in the world. And what I've seen of it, I don't disagree. It is just immediately stunning. It's just got such immediacy to it, hasn't it? So, absolutely wonderful. So do you go back to South Africa at all?
Yes, we go every 2 years. We've been trying to, and my mum would come over alternating years and so on. Obviously now, it's all up in the air, but we were there a year ago. So last September, a little bit more than a year ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that is a bit of a worry to think about your family, because we've got no family in New Zealand. So
yeah,
everyone's still back in South Africa. So it is,
yeah.
something in the back of my mind.
Yeah, and of course, with the times we live in and the restrictions in which we live in, if we were thinking of travel, it's also quite
Yeah.
a bit of a thing. But there goes the grace, and the beauty of the fact that we can do what we're doing now keeps us in great contact, doesn't it, amongst each other? So that's good that comes from all these incredible things as well, these incredibly difficult situations, and a new album. Tell us about your new album.
Oh, the new album. I am so excited about this one, because I think of everything that I've done so far, this is my favorite body of work so far. It's my favorite songs. I've had just massive inspiration. So I wrote so many songs that we ended up having to cull heaps of them, which was heartbreaking. But it's good because it means you can choose the really good ones, and and put them on an album. And then also the direction that we're taking with this is kind of like, it's a little bit different. It's more a soul Motown type of direction.
Yes.
With a little bit of a country feel to it, which is kind of like the Ray Charles, Solomon Burke type of era.
Yeah.
But I am a South African in New Zealand doing kind of a Motown album. So we've got lots of little ideas about how to pull in the African roots and, just all these roots, and bring it into the music to make it something completely different, new and, fresh, something that you haven't really heard before.
That really does sound exciting. That's great fun to pull all these different things in and just recreate your own. It's your own thing, isn't it? It's what really comes from within. Yeah, that's very exciting. When's that going to be released? Is there plans on that at all? Is that still very much in its infancy?
Well, it's a little bit further than its infancy. So we've recorded. I've got the tracks are done. My vocals are done. So now it's just that little extra thing, which is still kind of, I don't know. I think I can tell you. I haven't actually discussed this with the guys. I'm pretty sure I can tell you, because, this is it. But what we might get into trouble for this one. So the plan is to get South African backing vocalists, so those African voices, to do the Motown type of style backing vocals. So kind of, if you think of Paul Simon's album, that African backing vocals,
beautiful,
but just done in the Motown style. So that's kind of what we're going for. So that still needs to be done. So we're working with the studio in South Africa, which is obviously, I mean, like you just mentioned before, it is easier now that we're in this current climate to deal with people online. So it does make it a little bit easier than it probably would have been if this wasn't the case. But it is still a challenge, recording and writing out the music parts and the vocal parts and sending it somewhere else to be done,
It's hugely challenging. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic though, isn't it, at the same time? So, and okay, so you started at a very young age. Okay, when did you actually move away from South Africa?
So that was 10 years ago. So when so when I was 9, I started playing guitar. I mean, I begged my mum since I was 5 to get a guitar and start lessons. And she said I had to wait until I was 9. And then when I'll never forget it, when I started lessons and it was classical guitar, I was so disappointed, because I thought I was going to, I thought it was going to be rock and roll, singing songs, but I didn't want to complain, because I waited so long to get into my lessons that I just did it, which I'm so happy about, because it does give you a good base and a good understanding for the instrument, that when switching over to chords and singing and songwriting, it's actually an easier thing to do. But and then I just played I just played and played and played. I couldn't get enough of it. My mum, she always said to me, I just need to play one song to her every night before she goes to bed. And I'm like, yes, I've got an audience. This is great. So I can sing. So I would write a song. I wrote my first song when I was 9 years old, about stuff that I had no idea about.
Fabulous.
And then, I just kept writing songs, which were really bad, I'm guessing. And then when I went to university, I'm pretty sure they would have been rubbish, or probably stolen from something I've heard, how it works. But so then when I went to university, I didn't study music. I did a business and fashion degree and things like that. And then I met lots of people at university, and we started a band. So we recorded, and we actually got signed with Bowline Records in South Africa. And then we just kept touring. We toured and toured and toured and played and recorded. It was just amazing. And then after that, band was called Southern Soul. And then I went solo. The band kind of broke up. People found jobs and, finished uni and things like that. And then I just went solo with my own band, Lee Martin Band. And then met my husband. And then we moved to New Zealand. So when we moved to New Zealand, I was a little bit worried because I was already kind of established in South Africa. And I felt like now it's all from scratch again, literally all that touring, all the recording, the radio stations, everyone that I had these contacts with was just, they couldn't care less. They couldn't care less who you were touring with in South Africa because they don't even know those people. So when we moved to New Zealand, it took me a while to get back in the scene, just doing as much as I possibly could. But even getting a gig was, hard work. But yeah, here we are 10 years later, and I've already recorded my EP and busy with my second album, and AAA records coming on board. So I'm very, very lucky and blessed, just being on this journey.
I just think that's fantastic. And your story is so reminding me of my own, having 8 years ago or so, or a little more, meeting my husband and deciding just to suddenly leave everything that I ever knew, that I've been doing for about 25 to 30 years, and having the courage and guts just to leave it. But I absolutely, when there's a knowing, there's a knowing. And I thought, wow, gosh, I can't do all the jobs they did because, I'm the singer-songwriter. I do the lyrics and the melody, the vocal arrangements. That's what I love. That's what I do. But then you suddenly are faced with, well, hang on a minute. I better buy a guitar then and learn how to do that.
Oh, it's so good, eh? It's like
very
challenging
badly,
yourself.
and yeah, very badly at that. But you have to challenge yourself. I think we're given these things as part of our journey. This is where we're at, and embracing it is fantastic. Sticking with it is tough. When you go,
well, and I mean, yeah, and I can't think of anything worse than just being stuck in the same situation. It is necessary for growth to just kind of challenge yourself into those unknown situations.
Exactly. If you don't and keep kind of carrying away from it, you just stay in the same spot, don't you? So and when you've actually got to the point where you've actually achieved something within it, you think, oh, okay, I know how to do that now. That's okay. What was I so worried about?
Exactly. It's always the way,
I think that is part of that human experience. It's a very dense feeling at times, isn't it? So, but curiosity, Lee, I mean, can you share one personal habit or routine that contributes to your success and helps you navigate life and reach higher goals and accomplishments? What would you say it was for you? I have a hint that you love keeping a journal, so I hear.
Oh my gosh, I've got the ultimate journal. Yeah. So I've got I journal. I am very spiritual. So I do have these little routines, meditation, yoga, journaling. I feel like they're all, because I think it's an artist thing, a musician thing. Our minds can just go off on a million different threads, and you can drive yourself nuts. You can overthink a situation, even a performance. You can, be all in your head. And I've just found that just centering myself like that, with, first of all, writing it down. The journal is so good for me because it means I can think about my week ahead and not have it all stuck in my head and thinking, how am I going to do it? I can write it down, plan it out, and then I already feel calmer about it. And at the end of the day, if there's a reflection part where you can kind of rate yourself how you handle situations, which I also love because I learned so much from that. Because I mean, heaven knows I don't always handle everything great, but then you can kind of reflect and say, oh, you know what?
Yes.
I really could have done this better. I'm not going to get stuck on it. It is what it is, and it's over. But next time I'm in a similar situation, maybe I can handle it like this or whatever. Or even giving yourself some positive feedback and say, oh, I really handled this well. I'm really proud of myself for this day. Good job. And then you can just also sleep better. So I think sleeping is a big one. And then the yoga, I think yoga is a good one for me, just to keep my body and my mind kind of on
Yeah,
track and happy.
absolutely. I mean, if you're for hire, you can come over and teach me because I'm the opposite of what
Oh,
you're doing. And so I've had to learn. I've been Tracy sort of, I'm this sort of like such a leaf in the wind. And the position, obviously, the universe wanted to put me in is no, you're going to have such a strong feeling of needing to go there. You're going to sit down and learn something you've never learned before. And you're going to have to learn how to pull it all out. You're going to have to learn to do it. You know, I thought, God, I love you so much, but you really can be a little bit wicked sometimes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
The life lessons, you know.
Life lessons. This
Yeah.
is true. But I mean, that's the other thing is also the habit is to make a list. I love having that as well, because then I feel like I'm moving forward
Yes.
without getting stuck on it, because otherwise it's in your mind and you get,
Yes.
I can drive myself crazy in my head. So if I write down my little to-do list, my little like, it's just all there for me, and I feel like I don't have to think about it anymore. I can just kind of let it go.
So may I ask also, is your journal the same as your high performance planner? Are they two the same?
It's the same thing. Oh, I think it's in my bedroom now. Yeah.
Because I know you talk of a high performance planner, which is a great way to navigate yourself. So that sounds like the journal, but is that something slightly different, or? Yeah,
it's the journal. Oh, honestly, I can recommend this to everyone. It is Ben. Oh, who was it by? I wonder if I. Oh, okay, it'll come to me now, but it's by a specific person, but it's the High Performance Planner Journal. And it is phenomenal because it guides you through the day. So it's got the morning section, and then it also has space for you to do your own journaling, and it's got the day in hours. So if you did want to make your lists, and then it's got the evening section for you to reflect back. So it kind of guides you through it, but it's open for you to still do whatever you want. And it also has the week ahead, so you can see the whole week, and it also has the month ahead.
Yes.
And you can rate yourself at the end of the month too, and kind of give yourself points like, how did I do? And you know.
Is this something you can actually go out and buy, or is it something that you developed?
No, it's something you can buy. I bought it online. It's an American guy. Yeah, I need to give you the name of the guy.
Please, I need it.
So phenomenal. It's really phenomenal.
It's so great. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because I know consciously and spiritually, we say there's no such thing as time, but humanely, that as a human being, there's everything that we have to plan out and utilize it really well, don't we? You know, because we've been given that sort of 24-hour clock thing to go by, and that's the experience that we're having. So we need to really use it well, don't we? And it sounds like you've got it down to a very, very fine art.
Well, yes, it's funny that you should mention it, because I don't believe in this concept of time either, and I don't see it like that. I don't see it as something to manage my time necessarily. I see it as something to keep the chaos out of my head and just kind of put it in front of me visually, so that I know that I don't have to think about it in my head, because I've already taken the time. Let's say, for instance, I'm in the moment, that 5 minutes that I'm planning my day. And while I'm in that moment, I'm in that moment. But that just helps me put it in front of me visually, and now I know what's happening, and I don't have to bounce things in my head around. So I can enjoy every moment more, because I'm not thinking about a future moment anymore, because I already know, I've already seen it. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I just think you've resolved one of my biggest major issues, because you're right about time when you say that as well. It's not about concentrating on how much time you haven't got, because that's a negative. It's sorting out and not having the chaos in the head, so you utilize your moments, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, as a therapist, you've just helped the therapist. I know. As well as singing and all, I like quantum healing hypnosis. I've trained in that, and I've trained in neurolinguistic programming and all those things to overcome all my stuff. Then I end up being a therapist for other people, but it's rare now. But it's just
amazing.
Great.
Yeah,
you've just done great therapy on me, so I'd like to thank you for that. So I'm glad you're not charged.
I'm here to help.
This is so fantastic.
But it's really true. It's really hard to focus on the moment if your mind is on a future moment worrying about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, so consciously and spiritually, you said somewhere
we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. But tell me about that for you.
This changed my life, hearing this. I don't know if you know about Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes, of course.
Anyone, oh my goodness, go down that rabbit hole, because he's changed my life. He said in one of his talks, he said, if we can just realize that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And then he did the speech where he said, all of us at one stage, you were a baby, so you had this little baby body, right? Then at one stage, I had a little girl body, but she's nowhere to be found in this body. And now I look like I look, and I'm going to be an old woman if, God willing. But my body changes, this exterior changes. So I am not, obviously, my skin, my hair, this is not who I am. So there's something else inside of me keeping me alive, and that's been there since the day I was, in the womb, so, or before, whatever. But that's another point. That life force has been with me my entire life, but my body has changed. So when I die, what happens with that life force? Because my body will be dead. So the body obviously means nothing, because the body changes throughout my life, and it will eventually just go back to dust. But my life force will continue to live. Yeah. So then when you kind of simplify it like that, and I know it's maybe a bit of an oversimplification, but it shouldn't be, because then you start thinking, you know what? Someone just crashed into me and my car might be busted, or I've got a parking ticket or whatever. Does it really matter? Or is that just your current human experience? And if you can start looking at it like that, you kind of laugh it off and say, oh, this is a less desirable human experience, but that is what it is nonetheless. It's not going to, so that's kind of how I try and look at life. Also the outcome based, to not be so attached to outcomes. Like, absolutely. Maybe I'm recording this album. Yeah, I'm recording the album and you're thinking, but what is it going to sell? Are people? Who cares, really? In the moment, I'm having a human experience of recording this album, and it's a great experience. And that's all that should matter right now, because that's my current human experience. Yes. And to just enjoy it and not be worried about the outcome, because the outcome ruins it, because then you start worrying again,
And something you said beautifully, so that again, that was beautifully put, Lee. It's everything that I resonate with, what you're talking about. So I'm into the Joe Dispenzas. I don't know if you've heard of Joe Dispenza.
Nice. Absolutely.
The whole lot. I wouldn't even do a course unless it was a conscious course, like this podcasting course in which I trained on. It came from a very conscious course. So can you name a specific time in your life when you had an aha moment which instantly changed something significant within you?
And I think that is that being open to everything but attached to nothing is, heaven knows I'm still working on it, in day-to-day lives. But it's things like people would apply for a job, but you get so attached. What if I don't get the job? But to be open and say, you know what, I've got a job interview. I'm open to this job interview. I would love to get it, but if I don't get it, then that, to rejoice in it, to say thank you, because there's obviously something better for me. You know what I mean? Yes. Or if you lose your job, or if to say, well, thank you, because this means now I'm forced to go on a different path, because I probably would have stuck to that and just got stuck in that rut. So everything in life, and that's to kind of realize that every moment is perfect. It is perfect. It's like the ocean. Someone said the other day at my yoga class, actually, it's like the ocean coming in and coming out. You can't look at a wave and say, that's wrong, the way it's coming in, or it's gone out too late. It is what it is, and it is perfect. It is just the way it is meant to be. And just like that, there's no wrong or right decision. There's only right decisions, really, because even the wrong decisions you make is actually the right decision, because you learn from it.
Yeah, it's an experience, exactly. So that's much of the stuff that I have to get over, because I think from my very young days, there was pretty much a blame world when, a lot of, it's kind of the blame game, a very thing I cannot stand at all, and I'm really still learning to, hang on, I've only myself to blame for anything that I don't like, because I've only myself to blame if I'm attaching to something that I don't like. I can very easily remove myself from anything that is not serving me, And it's quite incredible how, when I look back, how stuck I felt that I couldn't get away from something, but I was perfectly free to walk all the time. But the emotional attachment is what we're here to experience and let go of, isn't it? And understand it on these different conscious levels. And I think we're at a time in the universe now where things are shifting so quickly. The old world is just, to me, drifting away, and we're sat on this newer venture. But I think by divine right should be prepared just to let things go. Let it go. Let it go.
That is the major thing. Just let it be.
Let it be.
Let it be. Let it just be. I mean, it is interesting. And everyone you meet, to kind of even just to see that everything that anyone has ever done to you is they just did the best that they knew how
Yes,
at
I
that point,
understand.
given
Yes.
their experiences, you know. So there is no justified resentment. So you can't blame someone for something because they were just doing what they knew how to do at that
Exactly.
time in their life,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
you can choose to let it go and say, well,
Yes.
that's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
my life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. At the time, it all seems like it is, but it actually isn't. It's people's projection of themselves, and you just have
It's
to.
the ego, yeah.
It's ego, and you have to just remove yourself. No, you know, regardless of what. So it's that's been one of the greatest, I think, triumphs of my journey. Even though there's still aspects to learn from it. And it's great when it goes into the music. It's great when you start to feel that go into the music, and that's beautiful, isn't it? And of course, when I go, you know, going back to your music again, I see and feel that in your music. I can see that and feel that in your, you know, in your journey. So it's wonderful. So yeah, so much to look forward to, Lee. And
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, that's the thing about music is I think, especially the way that I'm feeling about my journey or this human experience, you know what I mean? It's so good to be able to write down these stories, these human experiences. That's what I think these songs are. You're kind of writing it down and people can relate to it. It's just, I love music. There's just that, because I think that talks to us on a vibrational level as well, which, you know,
yes,
is kind of,
absolutely. It's vibrational healing on so many levels.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love all that. And you were talking about that as well, weren't you? Wanting to go and study music therapy.
Yeah, I think that that's always been on my bucket list, I guess. And I've got a big calling to work with people, especially people with disabilities. And I grew up with a stepsister who was a quadriplegic. She had cerebral palsy. And I get it. I know how people see, you know, how people see them. I know what they feel like. But also, there's something about people like that, because I think they've had to realize, I feel like they've come to a revelation before any of us did, that you are not your hair, you are not your skin, you are the soul within, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's why I really connect to them, because I feel like they just know it. They know it, and we have to learn it because we've got our ego. We're still trying to, you know, be beautiful and be cool and be all this, where they've had to let go of that ages ago, not because they wanted to, but because that was the hand dealt to them. But they're so much better because of it, because they're just connected to their soul.
Yes.
So yeah, I would love to work with people like that with music therapy, and you know, just kind of getting into that. So
Absolutely
life just
wonderful.
take me there. Yeah.
That's just wonderful to hear that. You know, because I've experienced quite an amount of music therapy in different ways, from the crystal bowls to gongs and all sorts of different ways. And I totally believe in the energetic ways of healing. And I've certainly had serious illness and use these variable different energetic healings to help. And I'm not much one for, even though I married a doctor, I'm not much one for the drug way at all. Don't take their drugs, don't take their chemotherapies, don't take any of that. So I really,
Good.
oh, don't touch it. Yeah, I've been all through it and I wouldn't touch it. So it's, there's so much power in this, and we have to remember that, I say power, we have to remember our empowerment. And you're talking about that because you're talking about the health and healing that's so important to you. That is you restoring your energetic body to stay well, to stay at the best it needs to be, to do what you do, and that you can do it, you know, and rely on your body and your empowerment to do that and keep it going. That's beautiful.
And it's an interesting thing too, because I do spend a lot of time, like I always, whatever I put in my mouth, and you know, it needs to be serving my body, and my yoga, and there's lots of things that I do to take care of myself. So and then people kind of get confused because I think you spend so much time exercising or doing this and doing that. So maybe you are concerned with the outer appearance, you know, like it could easily be misconstrued for that, but that's not what it is at all. I see it like, I'm going to live in my house temporarily, but I want it to be beautiful, and I want to feel happy in my house as much as I possibly can. I don't want to be, you know, I'm not going to gold plate it, but I want it to be as beautiful as I can have it, where I feel comfortable. And I see that as my body serves me. It takes me places. It makes music. It's healthy. And as long as I keep it healthy, I can do more with it. If that gets taken away from me for some reason, that's where the attachment comes from.
Yes.
Just don't be attached to it.
Yeah.
but because it is going to get taken away from you. I mean, if either I'm going to die young or I'm going to grow old, either way, my body's not going to be whatever. So it is just looking after yourself so that your body can serve you to be the best you can be. Yeah.
So whatever the number is, when time's up, it's not about the number, it's about the quality, isn't it? It's about doing what you can do and feeling happy within the experience, isn't it?
Exactly.
So Lee, it's been so wonderful talking with you. I've loved this, and I like with Kev, I've got a feeling I know we're going to be talking again in the future, because you're going to be
I would love that.
I'd love that too, very much indeed. So if you could say, actually, I'd like to go back and ask about your fans, actually. So I'm allowed to do this because it's my show, you see. I can pretend that it's going to end and think, no, it's not. So I'm wondering about your fans, because you did talk about your beloved fans, and so how did you manage to come away from all that over there and rebuild again? Did you have to rebuild your fans from the point of view of how you moved and what was changing at the time in the music industry, and how is it now?
Yes, well, so when I was in South Africa, look, it's the great thing with internet is that, and with Facebook, as much as I feel like we become slaves to these devices, it is pretty good to stay in contact with them. So my fans in South Africa are pretty loyal. So they've been following me on my journey here, and they've still been buying my music that I've released, so that makes it quite nice, this global type of community that we've got, the world the way it is at the moment. But in New Zealand, it started off, this is the amazing thing, actually. I started off with one little gig at a local pub, and I would sit there in my corner with my guitar doing a million covers and trying to combine my songs with the cover, just doing that type of thing. And then every week the same people would come, and they kind of became my fans. But as the time progressed, the tables started merging, because people would see each other there every time I'm singing. So they would become friends, and then they would sit together, and I would become friends with them. And then the table grew, and then they'll take other people that start coming. And so it went. And then as I started singing at different places, they would start following me around. And then the different places would have people coming around. So anyway, long story short, I love the way that it's brought people together from completely different walks of life that never would have met each other, that are such good friends now. And I mean, I see them weekly, because they still come weekly to wherever I'm performing. But so it's kind of been that, and then the word of mouth, and then just touring and traveling and I do a lot online to get my music out there, just to, it's a necessary evil, of course. But it's definitely helped a lot, because
How much time would you say that you spend online with promotion and keeping that contact with the fans, so that they keep up with what you're doing? How many hours in a day would you say, or in a week?
Right. So this is part of the planning bit, right? But this is why I also find it very important, because I can get quite lost, and I can forget why I'm on my phone. And then before you know it, you've just wasted a lot of time on senseless things. But I think the planning is good. And I actually listened to someone who suggested this, and I took it on board. It's just put time aside for it and say, cool. So you've got, let's say, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And what you're going to do is you're going to create the content, edit the photo, decide what you want to say, post it online, do your hashtags, do all the other strategies with regards to that, and then you're out. You put it down and you're finished with that, and then you can maybe check it again at night, let's say between 7 and 8, and reply if people commented and stuff, just to keep that interaction. But don't go in between, because it's not necessary. It's not necessary to check. It doesn't actually matter how many people have commented or liked it, because that's got nothing to do with anything. But if someone is giving you some comments or feedback, to reply to them, that's really, I find that really important, because to me it is about the connection. I'll never be too cool to reply to someone, what I mean?
Yes. So that keeps that interest going. So it's the actual replies that you're commenting with. The likes are lovely, that keeps you knowing what's going on, but it's the replies that you comment and go in and interact, because they're interacting with you. So fantastic. So if you had a message out there for your fans, and indeed anybody listening in for the coming season, because we're getting I know it's not Christmas yet, but oh gosh, the decorations have gone up over here far too early.
Oh, they're up. Wow.
Yes, they are. And so I'm thinking, what would you say to any of your fans and anybody new listening in at you? What sort of Christmas wish would you give them?
Oh, Christmas wish. Oh, I love Christmas. That's so exciting. But yeah, what sort of Christmas wish? Look, I would love for people, I think, to see that, just to try and see that divinity in other people all the time. You know, it doesn't matter what someone is doing, how they are behaving. If you can look at someone and just see the love coming out of them, I think it just makes all the difference. Even seeing the beauty in them. Like I've been trying to do that as an exercise too, is to everyone I see in the supermarket or wherever I am, just to really look at them and see that beauty coming from within. Because we tend to look on at the outside. It is a real thing, eh? To kind of make that your challenge every day and say, let me see the beauty in everyone I meet today, or just see today, lock eyes on today. I think that could be a cool Christmas message, just to spread the love. Yeah,
that's lovely. And I'm sure you out there listening would have really felt that. And of course, something that I'd like to ask Lee is about live.
Yes, so I have been slammed at the moment. Like, I'm extremely busy at the moment. So we are very lucky for the minute that we are able to do it. But yes, heaps and heaps of gigs, live shows. People are coming out and supporting it, which is great. I think they're actually doing it more so now that they feel like it might be limited.
yes indeed. So so fantastic. So people can catch you around on the South Island.
Yes, on the South Island. I am going to the west coast of the South Island this weekend to go and perform there for Friday and Saturday night. And I'm all over the show actually. It's pretty busy. I mean, I'm well aware that things can change again at the drop of a hat, which is also fine. And like I said, you just have to not be attached to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now. But we are out and about at the moment, so very lucky.
Oh, that's fantastic. So so you've got through the lockdown thing at this stage. You don't need to be attached to it. You just got to think about it. It's going to keep going. I look forward to this new album. It just sounds so exciting.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it.
I know that feeling when you're being creative and all the creative juices are just flowing.
And the thing is, it's always such a process before release as well, because it takes time. It's it's a few months away. So well, once it's released, we'll have to nip you back in again, I think, and hear about that. Absolutely. That'd be great.
So guys and dolls out there, that was Lee Martin, and wasn't she just terrific? And go and check her stuff out. It's absolutely gorgeous. The videos, the voice, everything that we've talked about, you'll hear. So Lee, thank you so much for coming in, and this is Lee saying goodbye to you all out there.
Oh, thank you, and goodbye. Thank you so much for having me on.
So that was Lee, everybody, and what a terrific chat we've had together. So enjoyed it. Well, wherever you are across the globe, please do travel safely, stay positive, listen to the music. It's fantastic. And let's hope I see you here next week on Tracy's Prog World.